Oh, hi, and welcome to my whiskey den. I'm lucky enough this week to have Mike Lissick from Kansas City, our little Kansas City correspondent, and we brought in Benjamin Lee Eves from Carolina. He's going to be talking about some Carolina stuff with us as well, too, so we're going to go over a few things. Mike was nice enough to send me two Driftless Glen single barrel picks, two picks. One's a single barrel, one's a marriage. And then the other one, we're going to do a Rua, and that's kind of down in Ben's neck of the woods. And I can even see the bottle down there because it is a nice looking bottle. It has a nice bottle design. I always thought that right off the bat. So I think the first one we're going to do is the Driftless Glen's first marriage. And Driftless Glen is out of Baraboo, Wisconsin. They broke ground in 2012 and really started distilling in 2014. They opened a restaurant there in 2015, and that's when Renee and Brian Bemis bought out one of the original partners. And they kind of figured that was their starting point for the distillery. Was really kind of more 2015 once they had everything kind of set and moving, which I agree with. It's first couple of years when you're just putting stuff together, it doesn't really seem like you're kicking anything off until you really get moving. They wanted to be known for their bourbons and ryes, but like everyone knows, those first couple of years you don't have it because you're sitting on the stuff. So they came out with a brandy that won a couple of awards and a barrel-aged gin. Then they also released their young rye, which I and Ed O'Meara over at the Rock Gut Review, I really liked that one for being like 14 months that they had it out there for. It was pretty well developed and didn't have a lot of spiky notes. It had a lot of pickle, a lot of anise, some stuff I'm not even a big fan of, and I actually liked the whole thing. So that was surprising to me. Let's see, now that they're getting about 5 years, and a lot of their stuff, they're kind of turning their gears instead of just kind of focusing on their product. They're trying to get more product awareness out there and doing a little bit different stuff with having a lot of in-house radio ads. Like, I usually have people come in for football and stuff like that. They'll have the sports guys come out there and do a show from the distillery and co-collaborations, kind of like the ones we're getting here. And they're also working on, it's coming up, they're going to be selling their spirits online in about 39 states. So they're pushing a big section and a little bit here where some other people are kind of staying a little bit smaller. As far as being going from to selling in 39 states, they're one of the fastest growing companies in the U.S. They were number 316 out of 5,000 on the list last year. And in the last 3 years, their growth was 1,561%. So they've been really skyrocketing as far as expansion, which is actually pretty neat. I wasn't expecting to see something like that, but I knew this past year with how many barrel picks everyone was doing and seeing everywhere that they were headed in that direction. They are a grain to glass distillery like so many of the craft ones we look at on the channel. They have a zero waste distillery. So even some of the alcohol afterwards, they'll kind of refilter it so that it can be used and all the grain goes to cows. And they are in a weird spot in Wisconsin. It's one of the few places where the glacier didn't go through. So it's not super flat like the plains. It is, as they put it, rich with peat bogs, and they also have a great aquifer that they use. Oh, sorry. Let's see here. And then the other weird thing is that they have more of a sandy soil instead of like a rich earthy soil like the rest of Wisconsin. So it gives them a little bit different flavor to it. The one we're going to be drinking is aged 4 years and 3 months. Most of them are about 4 years, and they age them in 25 or 30-gallon barrels, kind of help accelerate that maturation, and also a little bit darker look on a 4-year bourbon than some of the other ones up in Wisconsin. You'll see a little bit lighter. As far as the mash bill on it, this one is a 75% rye and a 25% malted barley. No corn whatsoever in it. And it was picked by, I forget the place where we got this. Seelbach is basically a group that, not like Single Cask Nation, they are getting awareness out about craft brewers or distillers. Sorry, Jesus. That's what happens when you live in Green Bay with so much breweries around you. Craft distillers. So they'll go out and pick kind of unique barrels like this. The first marriage was 2 barrels they really, really liked, but didn't like enough on their own. And when they put them together, they did, and they let Driftless Glen let them put it out at like that. So that was kind of their co-collaborations where they're doing a lot of stuff like that. Now I'm going to kick it over to you guys because I rambled for about 5 minutes straight, and I'll let you guys see what you think about the nose before I do anything else here.
Something I didn't get before was I'm just getting this waft of hay that I totally did not get that any other time that I tried it, but
I can see that like a green hay, not quite fully dried yet.
Yeah, and not green like the whiskey's too young or anything like that. It's just just that smell coming through there. It's a little dusty, but and it doesn't to me it doesn't nose or even taste like a really high rye at all.
No,
it's not. I mean, and knowing the mash bill, after tasting, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me, because you're expecting like a Pikesville kick in the mouth or something, and it's totally not it.
No, I'm getting it's a nice. I mean, it's just very sweet, a little bit of molasses, and then kind of with that hay note. To me, it's almost like a kind of a alfalfa.
Yeah.
I see that. Yeah.
Alfalfa hay or alfalfa bales.
And I'm always going to be able to hunt out that anise, or like that black licorice smell, no matter what it is in there. Kind of like Eric on a rock cut review. I'm like, I can find that no matter where it is in there, but it's not a strong one. Like it's just there in the kind of the background, and it's not really too pungent, where sometimes that'll overtake me, because I've never liked black licorice. I've been anti-black licorice.
Yeah.
Definitely the molasses, like you're saying, way past like a caramel, like a more thicker, richer flavor from it. And I'm also with the alfalfa, I'm getting like almost like a little bit of like a light fruit note.
Yeah, I get apple.
I was gonna say like a green apple or a candied apple, or it's got like a little bit of the sugar, which is weird because there's no corn in it, just because I think usually I kind of associate a little apple or that candied kind of flavor to some of the more of a corn in it.
This is more like a almost like a apple that's been flambéed or something.
So I'm getting like a hint of mint too.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, like a little bit of crushed, rolled in your hand mint. But once again, none of this is overpowering on the nose. And for being 61.5% alcohol, does not smell like that at all. Maybe 45, 47.
No, there's nothing real spiky on the nose to me. I mean, it's a really rounded, and the notes are just almost dense. I mean, it's like a multi-layer cake. Everything's really packed in there.
Yeah, and just from sniffing with you guys, it was almost like you mentioned something, and it was like, okay, I got that in here. And then the next time I went back, it was like faintly that, and then hunting, and then finding something else in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, very dense. Very nice here.
Yeah, and the pick was, and I wish I had looked more at it, but the Seelbach was the seller, but and they picked the barrel, but it was done by the I don't know. My mind's going somewhere really bad, but the Mid-American Whiskey Lover Society, or Mid-Atlantic Whiskey Lover Society. It just reminds me of South Park with the National Association of Marlon Brando lookalikes.
I can see that. Yeah. But when I had that first drink, there was a little bit of like alcohol burn, not a lot, a little bit, but nothing too scary. But I mean, for 61, I still think it was, I don't want to say nominal, but not as much as I would have thought it was.
Yeah, that's the only time on the taste is the only time I get a little bit of that anise, but it just it reminds me of a like a Dutch a cobbler you make in a Dutch oven at a campfire, just because it's just so hot and intense and concentrated and everything. It's just there's just a lot of flavor there, but yeah, no alcohol burn considering what it is. It's really smooth.
Drinks well below the proof.
Yes.
I'm gonna say I'm on the flavor on the back half. I'm getting that black licorice more so. Front end, kind of that molasses, but on the back. Then once again, that's me. So that's why I have you guys on here, because I don't think it's fair if I'm attacking just that one flavor.
I think the molasses on the front end, honey, and I'm getting some black tea right there, and then the finish for me coming off, I'm getting a lot of that mint.
Mm-hmm. Especially after I swallowed and kind of took a breath in.
Yeah,
I was kind of getting that, not really like a scope sensation because it's different mint, but that same, like where you can really feel it kind of coming in on that. But yeah, with the molasses, and that's nice on the front end. A little bit of honey, like you said too.
Yeah.
There's some nice cardamom, cinnamon, I think, on the mid palate to me. Some of that baking spice kicks in there.
And it's not as much as I would have thought, considering the rye was so like heavy rye on that one. I would have thought maybe the cinnamon or allspice came through more. I do like it, but for me, I was going to say that the tail end on mine, where I'm still getting that black licorice, is what's pulling me away. I really like the 2/3 of the front 2/3 of it.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, knowing what I know about the bottle, it's a very balanced rye. I mean, I would not guess that it's that high in rye. I wouldn't guess it's that high in proof or anything. It's just it's very well balanced.
Oh, now that I'm 3 or 4 drinks in, it's not as powerful in the end, which is why I like to have a couple drinks of it or a couple sips of it, because that first initial response, I had a splash of Caval beforehand, but not like a full drink. I almost think you should have a full drink of something before you start tasting, just to kind of splash your senses in your mouth kind of around to what you're doing again.
Arthur.
Yeah, and I'm going to put that up, Arthur, but I like it.
Gotta take one for the team, Butters.
All right, I will. Sorry, just for you to then see, it is true. He did kind of, but yeah, that's true, Arthur. Yeah, and now the black licorice isn't as much, but I was getting more of the cinnamon and kind of like allspice in the middle. It all around is very flavorful.
Yeah.
Like we were saying, how it's kind of layered with flavors. I almost feel like it hits the same way on your tongue, where it's like, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. And it's going down the line like that.
Yeah.
So I won't say it's as married together. It's not. That's kind of insulting, because there's no like highs and lows or valleys to it. But each flavor kind of takes its half a second.
Yeah.
Kind of pops its way up and down through it, instead of like it just kind of being this consistent thing all the way through with a bunch of different flavors.
And what so the bottle is what they had said on there was it was a marriage of 2 unique barrels, which when united created a truly magnificent expression of how good a rye whiskey can be. Which I admit I love that rye punch on stuff. You feel it's like, you get that nice big kick to it, but it's really nice. I mean, it's a very surprising rye. It's a very, very surprising to me.
Yeah. And I'm really excited about this, because some of the other ryes they're releasing are a lower proof. Like that young rye that I had before was like 61, 63%. And then like the new one, like in the standard release, is they lowered it to 51%, or it's their 51 rye. And I think they have another one that's a little bit lower. I haven't tried that one, but I feel like these are almost a better expression at a higher proof.
Yeah.
Because that was what I was afraid of, was that the other one had so much bold flavors in it. And this is kind of bold flavors, but they're not slapping you around like some other things do. They're kind of pulling you in a direction, but you're not getting like that slap to the side of the face with something you're drinking. And I'm happy that it tastes like this at 61%, because I was concerned the ryes were going to change. This would be right up Ed's alley. This is his total flavor profile.
Right.
he would be down with this.
So I got this last week. Santa Claus came early, and I've kind of turned into a Driftless Glen fanboy just based on the couple that I've got. But I got a message from Seelbach that said, "Hey, we have 2 more." And so there are two different barrels of rye, 2 single barrel ryes. I have not cracked either one of these 2 yet. I will crack them. I will send samples out to both of you guys. But one of them is 57 months. The other one's 56 months. But they are both 120 proof.
Nice. And
that's all I know about them. Other than I guess we'll find out.
Well, and that's what they're doing with a lot of the people with barrel picks. Apparently they're pretty reasonably priced, and then you can get it at that higher proof. The other thing on the sides of those bottles, I don't know if they do it on the new ones, but on each side of the bottle they have like an indented thumb and fingerprint of the owner, so it makes it way easier to grab and hold on to.
Yeah,
nice.
It is so cool.
I'm like,
it feels cool.
It's really nice.
Stupid, but it's like, this is cool.
I'm like, sometimes on those square ones you can be a little slippy. I'm like, nope, that's nice to get that little bit extra in there, and it's flair, and it's just different flair, and I like it.
No, it's nice, and I see it's got the Driftless Glen logo on the back. It's a nice, for a square bottle especially. It's pretty darn cool.
Yeah,
that one's not bad.
I just threw in a couple of drops of water on this to see what would happen, and I'm getting a little bit more of a lemon oil and a little orange zest coming out of it.
Okay,
really?
No. It really opened it up a little more. It doesn't feel as dense on the nose.
Now I got to pour some more. We're trying that. All right. Oh, it lightened up on the nose with just a couple drops too. Like nowhere near as dense.
Huh.
Yeah, like almost right before the mint, I got a little bit of lemon.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can say it. I can see how some other people would like this, like a couple drops more, or maybe closer to that 51 better, because it would be an easier drinker, not necessarily smooth, but easier to just kind of pour back a bit. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't get as much of the little kind of alfalfa green hay note, but I think I like it with the more layered flavor. I usually like a heavier proof whiskey, so that's just me. It's got nothing to do with them.
Right.
Do we want to move on to the one from South Carolina?
We can.
The Great Wagon Road Distilling Rua Single Malt. I just haven't had enough single malt, so I like American. I want to see another American single malt.
And this one's been winning some awards too the last few years. But I think what you're going to find interesting is there's a lot of similarity to this Driftless Glen we just had. I think because of the amount of barley they have in the mash bill on that Driftless Glen, some of these same notes are going to be in the Rua. But this one is they started that distillery back in 2013. Opened up in Charlotte, North Carolina. Oliver Mulligan, nicknamed Ollie, he's an Irish immigrant with the same typical story you see. His grandfather was distilling illegal spirits in Ireland.
And here, probably.
Yeah, well, they got busted by the police apparently in 1953. And over there, raided, took his steel, all his stash. But Oliver moved here and kind of took up his grandfather's tradition. So Rua is Gaelic for redhead. So I feel like there needs to be some gingers reviewing this, but
we'll have to bring that up next time. See if I can get a hold of Josh.
But it's all 100% organic, 2-row barley they use for the mash. They barrel it at 115 proof, and then it gets cut down to 92 proof in the bottle. Spends typically about 15 to 16 months aging, and they use 25-gallon barrels with a number 3 char. And instead of chill filtration, they just use a paper filtration on it. So what they consider a gentle filtering process. They're using hybrid stills. It's 1,000-gallon still, and they say they can pump out about 55 barrels a month with it.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad at all. Well, that was the other thing. Driftless Glen actually does have a decent amount of barrels on hand. They're up to about 5,000 barrels aging at the moment. They're a tiny bit above a little craft distiller. They're trying to make, like I said, at their 5-year mark, I think they decided to try to make a move and kind of head in a certain direction and kind of led up to that pretty well. But still, that's pretty decent for any distillery putting out that stuff, even for this.
Right.
I'm getting some type of berry cream in the middle of this nose, and I can't pick it right now.
Yeah. I get like granola with cream on it, and apples.
Say apples.
I'm getting apples right now. That was one of the first notes I got of this, was like a baked apple pie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
And roasted nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, there's for me, the nuts come across almost like a praline pecan, kind of something that's pecans that are a little sweetened in a way.
Yeah, and a little lighter too than some of the other.
Yeah.
And it sounds weird. I want to say it's there's a hint of strawberry cream mixed in with the apple. I know you might not be getting it. It's probably just me because I'm crazy, and that happens when you're sniffing whiskeys and having them couple after another. But
that's the objective fun of it, right?
Yeah, there's just another sweet note, and that could be the kind of sweeter kind of pecan or praline kind of nut, like a candied nut, but
yeah,
and a little bit of baking yeast.
Yeah,
a little bit.
On the tail end for me, it was I get this kind of fresh baked bread note to it.
Yeah.
It's not on the top. You got to dig for it a little bit, but it's there.
Hey, Ed joined in.
Yeah.
Hello, Ed.
Hey.
Yeah, it's good to see you here. Ooh. Yeah.
Well, this not that I want people to go and it's not my honey hole, but not that I want people to buy out stuff from Seelbach, but Rua is what brought me there because I was trying to find it. And they had it, and they had a good price, and they also have shipping specials and other stuff going on. But yeah, they had the Rua, and then after I had it, I'm partway through it, I guess you'd say. So I had to get another.
I'm getting there as well.
It's just really, it's nice, and especially with the taste, it's like you wait a while, and it's like, well, where's that coming from? It's weird. It's not so much layers. It's like waves of flavor that come through on it. And it's so cool. And this is not an expensive whiskey.
No,
it's like, man, if you guys are doing this is great. I can't wait to have some of your other stuff.
I'm totally getting what you were saying. It's almost like a half-baked apple pie with some of the other notes, that bready note is. I fucking love it. We're past that 5-minute mark. That is really nice. A lot of times you don't.
Tourette's is engaged.
It won't happen all the time, but it's it can slip through now. It's okay. But yeah, that is. A lot of times you don't. I like you get like a little yeasty note, but not like an actual or like on one time I got like a banana bread, but this is just like a nice baked dough.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll have a drink, sir.
Do it.
Oh. Yeah, you're right. That is wavy. Oh, and for all the stat whores, it's 46% alcohol by volume.
Yeah.
Oh. And it's sticking around a while. It has, see if I can get it up here. It has some really nice legs on it.
Yeah.
Sorry. That are sticking around there, and it does on the tail end here. It is really hanging out. So
yeah, the taste I get up front of it, and I had sweet vanilla, and then oak, and an apple-filled bear claw pastry with nuts, and then I get an apple juice aftertaste.
I get a little bit of like a clove in there, besides what you're saying, kind of halfway through. But not very heavy. It's more on the sides of my tongue. But that was a really nice description of it from the bear claw with nuts. That's really damn close. I like that.
Yeah, that's about spot on. I get a little like if you have black tea with heavy with honey mixed in, that comes in about mid palate to me on this.
I just had it. I was gonna say beginning, but then it does hold on to midway through with that little bit of honey.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, for an American single malt, I'm dramatically pleased because I'm afraid of all the malts from Scotland becoming overpriced shortly.
Right.
To the point where I'm like, no, I'll pass unless it's something I haven't had or want. But this type of thing really makes exploring American single malts like I'm in. I'm down. I'm more than happy to explore all sorts of different regions and whatever these. I'll have to look into what else these guys do because.
Well, interesting to me. The bottle I have is 15 months, and they usually go about 15 to 16 months for aging.
That's
it. Doesn't taste that young. I don't get the green note you usually get from a whiskey that is that young.
Yeah,
not at all. I would have guessed 4 or 5 years because I didn't get a single ounce of that.
Yeah,
so they must be picking nice barrels where the woods dried out outside or just dried out for a couple years rather than a little bit because 15 months that's kind of ridiculous.
They're using Kelvin Cooperage, which pretty well known for their barrels. But interesting experience I had with this, Mike. I don't know if you experienced this with your bottle. I don't know how you guys feel about the whole idea of neck pours. If they're not as open as what you typically get. But when I first bought this bottle, walk into a local store, they have a little section where they have some local distilleries. Saw this for the first time this past year. Thought, oh, that looks interesting. I'll pick it up. Nice price. Came home that day from work, opened it up, and poured it, and I could get nothing off the nose. I mean, it was just dense, a little bit of sweetness, and that was it. And same thing on the palate. I let it sit 20, 30 minutes, came back, opened up a tiny bit more, but nothing. And I was thinking, crap, I've just thrown $35 away. This is just, there's nothing here. And took another pour the next day, decided to come back to it. Opened up a tiny bit more, but not much. And then, so I let the bottle sit for about 2 or 3 weeks, came back to it. And all of a sudden it was just this incredible, lovely, all the notes that we're talking about here. Yeah. It's just continued to open up more as I got in the bottle. But that was one of the most dramatic experiences of the neck pour that I've ever had. I mean, it was so dense. There was just almost nothing coming off of it. But
I wouldn't say I had it as intense as that, but yes, I clearly think the first pour or two off of it is not exactly the same, and like it's I almost always take like 2 drinks and then cap it and come back to it a couple weeks later.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you what, the apple notes to me are really starting to leap off of this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And almost like a richer ripe apple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then like an air one, almost like a little bit more aged one. This is really, really nice. I'm digging this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a steal at the price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't go to Seelbach. Don't go there. I'll go there myself. I want it to be there when I go there.
I'll make sure everything's cool and I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Oh man. Because even the like light bready note on the end has like you said bear claw. I get like the hint of frosting, like the sweetness over the top of it, and the rich apple.
Yeah.
I am really half blown away, especially when you said 15 months.
Yeah.
Like that's really screwing with my head right now when I'm sipping this.
All I can say is it's got to be the 25-gallon barrel using the smaller barrels. But even still, to get, I don't know, the kind of age that this has on it, to me, it's stunning.
Yeah, because you're getting all the rich notes in. If you're getting any type of barrel notes, it's just like a little bit of spice on the back end, cedar, and it's nominal.
No, they're. I mean, everything that they're doing right, and that was another reason I needed to go get another bottle because I knew that it's like, all right, if word gets out about these guys, I'm not going to be able to get another one at least at that price.
Yeah, it'll go from 40-50 to 74.
Yeah, which is still. I mean, it's good. I mean, for the price of it, I think it's a steal. It's really really nice.
Yeah, not that we're telling the people at Great Wagon Road to jack up the price or anything.
Yeah,
but
do not.
You have some room and leeway if you would like to.
Yeah,
put a couple pumps on the lever. No,
they're a couple hours up the road, so that's a distillery I've really got high on my list to go visit this coming year. Hopefully, within the next few months, be able to take a trip and check them out.
That is totally well worth it. That is. Yeah. With Seelbach, I think you can ship. I don't know if it's anywhere, but you can. Just about. Like, so anyone watching, you can pick up a barrel from there, or like one of the ones from Driftless Glen, like we're talking about. It's making it very accessible to everybody, which that I thank them for.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Mike.
Oh no, I'd say not that I don't want anyone to go out there and go buy the stuff that I would like to get, but they did because they carry 2 or 3 of the whiskeys that are on Whiskey Advocate's top 20, and they were doing free shipping on any of those bottles that you bought. So they seem to be pretty cool about, hey, you need to know about this stuff and you need to go get it. And I've not been disappointed about a single thing that I've gotten from that place.
If you're looking for to explore some nice craft distillers that you can't typically find in your area, I think it's a great resource.
Yeah.
For me here in South Carolina, it's very difficult to find anyone that ships here, and they do. And so that's a big plus.
That's just nuts.
Are you guys are state controlled, right?
No, we're not.
You're not. Okay.
No,
is it North Carolina that is then?
Yeah, North Carolina is.
We're 3-tier here. Oh, yeah. This is. I gotta commend them because if they're doing exactly what they say, they're going out and finding interesting things and being like, "Hey, everybody, check this out." And this is well worth it. The last one too is not 100% up my flavor profile. I can totally respect it. Especially with it being well under what it was proof-wise. But I think this is, if someone was drinking single malts, this would be a nice introductory whiskey for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because you're getting a lot of really nice, rich, but not bold flavors. And it's really married together well. And you don't always get that, like the barley note as friendly on this. Sorry, I poured more. I'm sorry. Going back to it.
No,
this is a very friendly whiskey. I think this was a great throw for somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If anyone's asking about this, would be one that I would like on Friday night when I hang out with my friends. Some of them, 2 or 3 of them are on to kind of sniffing and tasting and stuff a little bit more. I got 2 or 3 that are still wham, and they'll take it down. I don't begrudge them. Everyone gets there at their own time. And I can tell that I've figured out their flavor profiles over time too, even though they're like that. Like afterwards, it's like, oh, you're Irish guy, even though you do that. I can tell by your reactions and what you say, you're still Irish guy, and you're definitely not Isla guy. And but this, I think they would, no matter tasting or drinking or downing it, I think they would destroy the bottle of this in a night. This is,
it's that good and that easy you could, but at the same time, there's enough complexity for somebody who's, more intermediate or advanced in whiskey to really enjoy this. I like a Glenlivet 12, which to me it's very simple. It's easy for somebody to get into, but it's also so simple you can easily forget about it. This has more complexity, in my opinion. Yeah, more to all.
Yeah, the layers on this are beautiful. Wow, way to go, great wagon roll. This is I love it. This is nice. That is friendly as hell. I'm sorry, that's one of the more surprising ones I've had lately. Like I had the Caval single barrel, and that one had. I'm not used to mango or some like weird fruit flavor in it, and like that was like took me down a turn, and I was nice too, but that was just a unique flavor profile. Yeah, this is almost like comfort food, like really good layered comfort food, where it's like, oh, I wasn't feeling, I was feeling iffy, and you have a drink and like, oh, I'm feeling at home. Yeah, this is lovely.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, and it's to me, it's one. I can't really have anything after it, just because I know that even after I've I'm a few minutes after having my last drink, it's like, oh, now I got that. It's just really weird. It keeps coming in waves of stuff, and it's it's almost cost effective to have this, because you're not gonna slam it, because once you experience it, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll just have this and I'll sit here, and this is just it's quite an experience. I do like it.
Like you're saying with like the oils and the oils that it had with the legs, it does stick around for a while. Yeah, but it's not like, it's a very light, like to mid-range sticking around, like as far as heaviness. So some other ones are like kind of grabbing you and they stick around for a couple minutes. This is just like really easy sticking around.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's nice, but to me, there's a little bit of a tannic dryness to it that, again, just does not belie the age. To me, it's something I get from a much older Scotch or something that's had a little more barrel time. Yeah, than something like this.
Yeah, there's really almost every whiskey that I have, I think about, if it's not a higher proof, I think, wow, I wonder what this would be like at a higher proof. And I do not think that about this whiskey. No, I don't think, man, I wonder what this be like at 65%, because I really, it's just about right. I mean, everything about it's just right on the money.
And Arthur, they get distribution to Texas right now. They're in 8 states, I think, is the last I saw listed. Mostly South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, Tennessee, Georgia, Missouri, and Texas. So those are the places you can currently find it.
Yeah, Arthur, I would grab this in a heartbeat. That is tremendous for what it is and the price. That puts a lot of things down.
Yeah,
just shame.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, these have been 2 outstanding whiskeys so far. Watching you guys talk up these Midwest ryes for so long, and to finally get to sample a few of them, that was really nice on that Driftless blend. So,
yeah,
it ends up being. It's just, I think it's easier to come through year wise. Well, like when you were saying that was like 15 months, that kind of freaked my brain out. Like really, because with some of the ryes, you can still get like that little bit of spikiness in it, and it gets kind of overshadowed by some of the rye spice, and you don't notice it as much if it is there. But with that, like that's just so smooth and rounded. I don't know. That's gonna screw me up for the rest of the night. I'm gonna have to have a little bit of water before we go on to the next one. I totally do that one.
The thing that I found with this one too, it cuts through the water. It takes more water to get this off my palate than other stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's just it's so oily, and I don't know if it's that fruit heaviness and or like if you have an apple pie, I mean, it stays with you for a long time. It just really goes back. It goes through your system and comes back out.
Left all of a sudden.
All of a sudden.
Oh, hey,
how did that happen?
Scott just jumped in from my bourbon journey. How's it going, Scott? We're talking great Wagon Road distilling that you can get from Seelbach. And I'm gonna say it is totally worth it after what we've just had here. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
And like you said about the alcohol content, I would not screw with this at all. This is one of the few that you like hit and you're like,
yeah.
People don't. I don't even want to put a drop into it.
Yeah. No, they nailed it. They completely nailed it.
Yeah, this guy's good because I mean it's like you said, almost everything I try, I always wonder what's this going to be at cast strength because that tends to be my preference is higher proof. But this is one of the few that I'm like, don't touch this. This is freaking
right. Yeah.
Oh. Okay, I'm gonna put a cap on that one. We'll move on to the next one, but that got well worth its a little highlight here because it's kind of like Great Wagon. God, I'm trying to remember who the wood hat from last time. It's kind of stealing the show for me.
Oh, yeah.
But the next one, we're gonna switch over to Driftless Glen's Straight Rye Single Barrel. It's 62.6%. You already kind of described them earlier, so we'll move on with that because you heard me talk for like 5-6 minutes straight about that. But this one is a higher proof as well too. This is one when they were there kind of coming up with the first marriage that they had it all on itself and they're like, this one is a star here by itself. A little bit spikier definitely on the note.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's
a lot of cinnamon spice.
Yeah. More of a black sugar rather than like the molasses on the last one we had. And I'm getting a little young barrel note, but that could be mixed in with the mint that I'm also kind of getting. It's like an in-between minty tannicky little thing going on there. Okay, give me a second. I was sniffing too hard. I don't know if anyone else does that where you hit like kind of inhale 2 or 3 times a little too heavy on it and it all of a sudden you find yourself not woozy but like I'm not getting anything. I'm not smelling anything different on this one. It's like
Daddy's tired.
Yeah. Have a good night, Scott. I hope you start feeling better. But I was going to say, if we're giving off some notes on this, Ben, if you can think of anything you have that might be close, that was something else is going to play. If one of us doesn't have one at some point, it'd be more of a, what do you have that sounds similar to this? Just because not everything's in every region, even though I think all of these ones were through the Seelbach.
Yeah, I think I might make a run to the cabinet real quick and grab something, but
that's fine. We'll wait for you.
Yeah.
A little bit of that green hay note too.
Yeah.
That alfalfa kind of smell. But I'm on the nose, not as rich as the other one, or I should say, as
it's not as elegant as the first marriage. It does have more of the rye punch in your face and punch in your palate.
That's what I was gonna say. It is more. It's definitely more aggressive. It's not. It doesn't have the glove on when it's coming at you.
No. You can definitely. I mean, this one you could tell. Like, yep, this is a rye. 100%. This is definitely a rye whiskey.
And totally on the nose. Where I thought this one was at up Ed's alley. The other one was this is rye spice.
Yes.
heavy black licorice on the back end, mid to back end, but also that spice is sticking around a lot longer, even on the finish that is sticking around now. And it is like off the bat, it's coming at you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty aggressive. I like it.
This is getting closer to the alcohol, you know, like the alcohol percentage when you have it.
Yes,
the other one was a little more hidden. This one, you know, you're stepping in, kind of like a Booker's, where you know you've walked something.
It's still, I mean, it's 62.6. It's not. It doesn't drink like that high, but it drinks like it's above 50. It's like, I'm just letting you know you're in for something, but it still doesn't drink as high as it really is.
No, 50 to maybe 55, but yeah, more around like the 50. No, because you're getting it, and afterwards you are getting some of that little alcohol burn, not in a bad way, because it is mixing nicely with the rye spice.
Yeah.
So like I said, it kind of, that's in there, it hides it up quite a bit. But I think I like this better than the other one, but that's because I like getting punched a bit.
Yeah. It's nice to get smacked around just a little.
Like the other one was like the First Marriage is a really nice name for that, because that was a nice blend of stuff.
Yeah.
This one is just, this is like a boxer kind of jabbing you 3 times real quick out the beginning of a match.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in this. Black tea in the front of it as well. And that almost rolls in like that, like after the black tea subsides, it almost rolls into black licorice for me. Or the anise, whatever.
Yeah, it definitely has a black licorice to it.
But once again, like with the young rye from them, I'm not hating the black licorice from it. Like I'm totally tolerating it, and it's like I'm accepting it with the whiskey. Or on some other ones, it's been like, oh, ugh, and down. You know, like that's enough of that. We're not going to head back to that tonight.
Yes,
this is holding it together pretty well.
Yeah.
Definitely a little more punchy though. This is.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's a these two are what made me really get into Wisconsin stuff. It's like, all right, they they know what they're doing with their rye. They're doing a pretty good job there.
And this is why I think they've been Driftless Glen has been pushing and expanding so much over the last couple of years, is because their ryes have been pretty dead on. And this one, I think, was another 4 years and 3 months on this one. So that's why when I had that young rye, it was only like 15, 16 months for a lot of things. I was like totally surprised. I think that the young rye is really close to what this is, Mike. And I was going to say they're very similar. I'm glad they're still aggressive and coming at you with some of the flavors, but it is weird to see how they got to something in 14 months. And I'm blown away by the other one, the Wagon Road Distilling's Rua at 15 months. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's just the smoothness is insane on that.
Yeah.
I got to say, just my little bit of experience I've had with Midwestern ryes. Another one I had recently was Rockgar, out of Minnesota, and they seem to be kind of carving out a little bit of a unique niche to them, because there's some notes and flavors I get out of these. I'm going back to this First Marriage, and that I don't get typically out of other ryes that I've had, either typical Kentucky or NGP type thing. There's just I hate to say, almost like a Texas whiskey has a unique profile to it, regardless of what kind or who distills it. I'm seeing kind of the same thing with a lot of these Midwestern ryes. That the few that I've had, there's a distinct note that goes through this that I'm finding that I don't see in other ryes from elsewhere.
And I don't know where Driftless Glen gets their barrels. My bad research, hands up. Sorry about that, everyone. But on some of the other ones, they're using more of like a lot of times like a Minnesota oak from one of the cooperages up here. And Mitch was saying that it has a unique cell structure where it's much denser than some of the southern oaks, and it makes a difference in some of the flavors it puts out into it. Because there was one where I think it was Douglas and Todd, and I was like, well, where's the rye? And there was like, what is the rye in here? What's the percentage? And there was none. And I was like, what the fudge? You know? I'm like, dude, bullshit. I'm not believing a word you're telling me right now, you know? And I'm like, some of that might have a little bit to do with that, because I know I think the one you mentioned does use like a Minnesota oak on it. But yeah, there is like a little niche that's going on, and I'm happy we can start to carve out at least some section.
Yeah,
it almost seems like different parts of the country are hitting up like their niche of whiskey.
Yeah,
right.
You know, like this is Texas has kind of hits all of them just because how fast you can produce it and kind of get some of the flavors and stuff rolling in it. But yeah, I'm happy to hear that from you, Ben, because it's nice to hear like at least a little kind of niche is coming through, and it's like this is the unique point for it.
Well, that's what when I think of Midwest whiskey, I automatically think of rye, and I think this is also starting to illustrate the whole point of terroir that people are starting to realize and understand with whiskey, that certain region with the soil and the wheat or the grain that they're using, rye, barley, whatever, that it can produce its own distinct notes.
Exactly.
Well, there's going to be, I sent you guys each a thing of the 7-year J. Henry, and I just got the anniversary bottle that's like a blend of 5 and 9-year-old barrels. And for like a straight bourbon, I kind of lean towards them a little bit more so, because I think flavor profile, it leans up into like a Kentucky kind of Texas. It holds its own against that in like a punching weight, and I think. And then they have the Bellefontaine that I sent you that they finish in cognac barrels, and that one is, if you do the side to side, completely different, like way different front end on the one. You're like, how did this, like this the same base, and you're like, wow, the finish totally jutted off to left field, even though there was like 2 more years on this barrel. But I was like, that is an impressive ending, or like a change just from a barrel finish. But there's a couple other ones I sent you. There's a limousine rye that I think you guys would both like from Dancing Goat, and a couple other ones. But yeah, it does seem to be more the ryes that are kind of carving out a niche in the Midwest. Like bourbons, some of the like I was saying before, I think they need almost like 5 years to kind of hit their stride, to kind of get into the more caramely kind of stuff and lose a little bit of the tannic aftertaste to it. So a lot of distilleries are just kind of starting to get to that point where you can hit it, and it's like, okay, this is wonderful. This is kind of hitting its stride too. But yeah, we'll see. There's quite a few of them that are being there to test.
Well, I've got something to send to you guys soon. The distillery that's up the road from where I live, 6 and 20. I think I sent you both the Old Money, the wheat whiskey.
Yes. Yeah.
They just released their first rye, and they're using a rye it's locally sourced from South Carolina. And my understanding is it was a variety of rye that was almost extinct. Worked with Clemson University to help bring it back. And they're using this. They've been making a vodka, an heirloom vodka from it, a rye vodka that I got to sample. That I'm not a big vodka drinker, but it had a really nice, distinct flavor to it that you could pick out a little bit of the rye out of it. But they've used that. They finally aged it, and they just released it here this past Black Friday, the rye. So I'll be swinging by to try to get a bottle and get you guys some samples so you can put a South Carolina rye up against what the Midwest is doing and see what the difference is.
I'm definitely up for that, because it sounded like, just with what you said, that's what I'm finding is neat, is a lot of the craft distillers are working with colleges to bring, like agriculture colleges, to bring back some things that have been almost extinct or just like not used in 60, 80 years. Like almost they were like bred out of existence because of non-necessity, because it wasn't as fast or yield wasn't as much or wasn't the profile they wanted for maybe tortilla chips. But I'm because like there's a couple of them that use J. Henry uses a red corn that they had to get the okay from UW-Madison to use because they developed in 1939 and held on to it. And I'm like, it's neat when you're like having to be like, well, we had to use all the college students and their resources to kind of have bring this back, and now we're using it for this. And I almost wonder if some of those people who are in college aren't kind of hired afterwards at the distillery. Like you were the kind of the chemical guy that kind of got into this and was kind of a little more research into it, and we'd like to bring you over here, even maybe just part-time a couple times a year, give some input or thought into some direction we can go into agriculturally with something else or something more unique that they might have had a hand with. But I'm glad to see that coming through a little bit more, where there's a collaboration with reinventiveness in whiskeys. Right. I really, and I think that also pulls, because I've seen a lot more young people be more excited about whiskey. And I know that's kind of bullshit for someone who's 39 saying young people, but you know, it's a big difference. When I remember when I was younger and I had wild turkey back then, and I was like, oh my God, no, like that's just not happening, you know. And that might have been the time frame from when, you know, he had it and maybe it wasn't as good at that point, or you were drinking crappy beer and other stuff, so it was just more aggressive at that point, and you're like, holy cow. But now, so after a couple of the ones I've had from them, I'm like, no, they're really impressive with what they do, especially with the 101. I mean, as friendly as it can be for a whole lot of people. I mean, I think I saw in the Whiskey Tribe someone got the rare breed in the 101, and I'm like, that's really cool, but overall the 101 wins for me, just because I'm like, the rare breed is nice and everything, but it's what, like $150 a bottle or more, and the other one's like 25. And I'm like, that for 25, this is where I'm reaching 90% of the time, you know, like it punches above its weight.
Oh yeah. So Benjamin, have you had stuff from Highwire Distilling down in your area?
I have not yet. That's I think Charleston.
Okay.
I've had a few samples at a liquor store down there where they had a rep set up, and
all right,
you know, based off the samples, it was interesting. But I haven't bought a bottle and got into it. That's one of the I guess probably one of the next ones I want to explore, because for South Carolina, we don't really have a lot of good distilleries. Most of them tend to focus on corn whiskey, the moonshine.
Yeah.
Which, you know, historically and traditionally for this area, especially where I live closer to the mountains, that's kind of a thing. And so they play off of that, but very few are really putting out good aged whiskey. Highwire is one of them. 6 and 20 is one. And then you've got, you know, the one doing Rua up the road here in Charlotte, in North Carolina. So, but yeah, Highwire, they've got a good reputation. So those I would like to try.
All right. Well, I'll send you guys both that. I've got their Jimmy Red.
Yeah.
Which I had wanted to try that when I heard about that, whenever it was it came out, and the idea of them bringing back a corn that was basically dead, you know, the Jimmy Red corn, it was down to, I thought they said it was down to like, you know, less than a dozen ears of corn, but they had seeds and they got with them when they brought it all back. And so this whiskey is made with 100% Jimmy Red corn. And it is, it's got an interesting flavor to it. I mean, it's not like, it's not life changing, but it's got a great flavor to it. But the mouthfeel, it's a really, really silky mouthfeel. It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's worth having. I wish that they could do more, and I completely understand why they can't do a lot, because it's 100% of this weird corn that nobody's got.
I feel like they got it out of the seed bank in Antarctica. Like, we had to go there and get half of it just to grow it.
So yeah, I'll make sure and I'll get that to you guys, because it's I mean, it's nice. It's the flavor is one thing. It's the mouthfeel is a completely different experience, just because it's okay, it tastes fine, but then you get in there and you're like, okay, I can't lick this out of my mouth. it just stays in there. It's just very nice and thin and just kind of hangs out there. It's really it's a nice feeling.
And then that almost makes you when you're having that, it makes you think, are they going to do like a 60% Jimmy Red Corn and something else to flavor in to have like a crazy mouthfeel just stick around?
Yeah.
Sorry, I just went off tangent. I just got excited. I tangent.
Yeah.
I mean, do this and this happens.
It's like our, the very nice people at Iron Root. They're realizing that, well, no, just 5% of this corn. Here's the difference. And I went there this summer. Met down super nice people, and Robert was it wasn't a tour day, and he's like, yeah, come on. It was, pull stuff out of, it was like 6 different casks, here, yeah, pull it, have this one, well, here's this one. Okay. Now here's this one with 5% of this other corn. Okay. Now here's this one. And it's like, okay, well, this is all great. But it was nice because he said, okay, this is the same whiskey with 5%, only 5% different in corn.
Right.
And it's been in the same warehouse, and you're tasting it and you're like, you guys are magicians. I mean, it's just what they're able to do. And even their 5-year, I sampled their 5-year stuff, and he's like, yeah, this is for the anniversary. And he goes, this is 5-year-old Texas. And I was expecting just nothing but wood, but they're really looking at it as, okay, no, we can mess around. We can screw back with Mother Nature, and we can screw back with the climate. And we're going to do these things and make stuff happen.
If I'm right, that's right.
It's nuts. I mean, it's just that little percentages in just an oddball corn. The same mash bill, 5% difference in we're throwing this weird corn in there.
Yeah. And I think with where they are, they have a weird thing where their barrels actually will increase in like APV because of like moisture contact where they are and stuff. And Arthur brought up that A&M and I think it was TCU were also playing around with some peated stuff. So I'm intrigued by that. That just adds a little bit more into it. I know about Coney Solids has some great stuff, but like I said, working with the schools is kind of neat. I like that. You bring back one extra thing. I kind of scrolled back too far there. Sorry about that, everyone.
Iron Root is, they get the corn from all over, but I drove down there. It was like 7.5 hour drive, and you go through all these parts of Oklahoma that I've been through before, and there is nothing good to look at. I mean, it's just dust, the whole way down there. And as soon as you cross over, like it was like right before, and then as soon as you cross that Red River, it was green. And that was one of the things that I talked to him about. It's like, it was the weirdest things. Like you cross and you go over this border, and it's like, oh, things are green. And this was I drove down on the 4th of July, and it was green and bright and whatever. And he said, yeah. And so I was talking with him about the climate. And he said, yeah, if you look at weather patterns and how they affect this area, this all going through there, you watch how everything moves, you watch how everything goes. And he goes, it's in a good climate spot. And they're just completely taking advantage of what they have there. It's so cool.
And it's weird because I think they picked it out for cognac originally. Just the climate and the terroir for it was for that.
Yeah.
But now Arthur's taunting us about other things from Iron Root and how good it is. And he's accurate. He's accurate. And I'm jealous.
Yeah, they're amazing. Super nice people. Great stuff. Messing around, having fun. I mean, that's the best stuff.
That's probably gets down to why they're, big reason why they're my favorite American distillery right now. What they're putting out, just the innovation that they're doing, and how they're tackling this, and then the way Robert is active in the whiskey community and really engages and freely talks to you and shares with you what they're planning, what they're doing, how they're doing things. I mean, I've never interacted with another distillery or distillers like this. And, I think they're doing wonders. And I can't wait to see what the next 10 years holds for these guys, because it's some amazing stuff to come out.
Well, that's when you start thinking, like, I know age goes faster down there, but with their climate, maybe a 7 or a 10 year could be plausible in Texas. And then that could be,
especially there. And they're like messing with it. And I like the Balcones stuff, but Balcones is just like so Texas and in your face. It's like, yeah, it has this taste to it. Up yours. This is Balcones. It's from Texas, and you're gonna like it. And it is good. And I love Brimstone. I think it's great. But Iron Root's like, you know what? We're gonna try to make something that you don't really. It's got a Texas thing to it, but you are not gonna believe it's from Texas.
Right.
And both of them are great. I mean, they're nothing bad against either one of them, but there's just something different about Iron Root and what they're doing.
And they're both reasonable. I'm just going to be flat out honest about that, where there's some other Texas distilleries where they think a 375 is worth 145, 150 bucks, 180. And I'm like,
yeah,
I'm just not willing to throw that down. I'm poo-poo on me. I mean, it could be mind blowing, but that's where I start going. I could have a Glengoyne 21 or a whole bottle of that or a couple other things. And I'm like, no, that's not happening for that tiny little bottle.
Yeah.
Straight. I mean, and I know the distillery you're talking about, and I've had this conversation with a number of people is, they think very highly of their whiskey, but for the value and the price, what I can get from Iron Root or Balcones or some of the others,
right.
I have a hard time laying that down for that. So.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't mean to get Arthur in trouble. I know you're in Texas. He agrees. I won't even put that up there, Arthur. We'll let someone read in the notes. I want to get you in trouble. But yeah, it's just one of the, like, and I've had a couple of them. Like I think the Balmera, and I'm like, it was great. Like, yeah, it was a very good whiskey. But would I pay that much for it? No. And that's when you're paying that much for 375, at least when you go to a bar and it's like, this is 45 bucks. I'm like, well, at least they're not bullshitting you. Like the little bottle is that expensive, where I've gone to some places. The Kohler Lodge here in Green Bay, they have a restaurant up there, and I think they had a 25-year-old Lafroig, and I'm like, I know how much this bottle is, but it was like $50-$60 for like a pour, and I'm like, well, I can have like 4 or 5 pours and go have the bottle down the whole bottle down the road.
Right.
Like, atmosphere is a thing. I get that, but I looked at my wife. I'm like, it's not that cool here. I'm like, I'm not having that great a time. And that's one of those things where it's more like, if I'm with 5 or 6 people who enjoy whiskey,
right,
then I'm down. But then I would look at everyone and be like, we could go get the whole bottle, and like, we all don't just have one drink ourselves and spend this. We could go have like 6 drinks ourselves and go get the bottle and like, let's go back to my house,
Yeah.
So I'm like, there's just a level for me where I get it. Other people don't have it or have so much money it doesn't matter. Like with some of the Pappy pours where they're like, oh, fine, I'll pay $175. I'm like, it's not worth that much.
No.
Yeah.
It's not worth what you're doing. Like I think I told someone we were out one night and people were getting the 15. I'm like, I have the 15 at home. It's not worth $60 a pour. I'm like, it's just it's not. Like the Rua was goddamn surprising for whatever it's at. And at a bar, maybe that's what, 10, 15, maybe for a pour, maybe less.
Yeah.
And I would be telling people to touch that all day over the Pappy for price comparison point. I'm like, it wouldn't even be a thing. And I don't mean to upset the Pappy people. I still want a bottle next year. I'll be happy with one. I'm not bashing you, but I'm like, it's just too much at some point. So
yeah.
But
totally agree.
I think we're getting towards the end here. So I finished off the Rua. I got it in my glass here. That thing, once again tonight, is that's going to be my winner. I totally respect both Driftless Glens for what they were.
Yeah.
But this just had such a really nice feel. Like I said, for an introductory to whiskey or like single malts. And then also, like you said, Ben, like even for an enemy or an advanced drinker, it's got the flavor profile to it that hits.
Right.
Yeah.
This is one of the best well-rounded whiskeys I've had in a while.
Well, now you know where to source it from.
Yeah. Well, hey, I can get it from Seelbach's, or I can, make someone a mule. There's a lot of mules out in the world that are quiet, and I do the same thing every now and then. But yeah. Well, this one's my winner for the night. I don't know how you guys feel. So did any of them kind of jump out at you more than the other?
I think value-wise, the Rua is it's so hard to beat, and there's just nice complexity to it, and at the same time, it's so easy. The Driftless Glen to me was outstanding. I mean, for a rye, very approachable. I'm still getting it's opening up more and more as it sits in the glass. Right now, I'm getting some nice mahogany and lemon, like furniture polish notes out of it. That's really intriguing, and more of a molasses, almost like a kind of an Aunt Jemima syrup type pancake syrup note out of it. But to me, they're both outstanding. I would never hesitate in turning down a pour of either of these. So or having a bottle on hand, honestly. So
yeah, and the Rua is I think it's very much of an experience, because it's I mean it's a very nice whiskey, but it's not just, oh, he had a nice whiskey. It's he had a nice whiskey, and in about a minute you're going to get something else out of that whiskey. Oh, and then in a couple of minutes after that you're going to get something else out of that same whiskey that you just had. It's really well done. I think it's very understated. You wouldn't think. I mean, it's like, I didn't expect much. Like, okay, I think it's going to be good. I like it, but I mean, for the bang for the buck, it's like, wow, this is just. It lasts longer than I think than other whiskeys do, because once you've had it, and you're like, I really only need about an ounce or so of it, because I'm going to get more out of that 1 ounce than I would get out of 2 or 3 ounces of something else.
And it's the 15 months that are still shooting my brain out right now. Like that's when you're working for kind of a, hate the word smooth, but a smooth whiskey. I would never expect that I don't expect it on anything that's like under 5 years. Really, I always almost expect to get some barrel note, a little bit of tannin, some other stuff. But it's for 15 months. That's incredible.
Well, even the Texas whiskeys that age really quickly down there. The Ranger Creek Rye that I sent you, Patrick, you're going to get some grain notes that come out of that. It's nice the way it plays with everything else, but you still get that young, and it's I think about 24 months or something like that, 27 months maybe. And here, this is 16 months, and you get none of that. There's no green, young spirit notes at all. And I think that's astounding.
And I think the alcohol by volume on the difference of what Driftless Glen versus the Rua is part of it too. The Driftless Glens are almost 20 points higher. So I was gonna say that is some of the, like, a little bit of that punch. Like I said, the one was a little more slappy. The one was a little bit more kind of married together and subtle. But I think that is a difference in the taste as well too. So like I said, those are both wonderful things, and between the two, uniquely different, where the marriage did seem like it was a really nice blend of things, and the single barrel was like a single barrel that was like a little grab your shirt kind of thing for a second, and I'm like, I like that. It's just a black licorice for me, and it's just a personal thing. I'm not banging on them. They were both wonderful whiskeys. Just a black licorice compared to what the other one was. The other one's just more up my flavor profile. Yeah, and the baked bread on the nose is fucking disturbing. Yeah, it's Bear Claw was almost spot on. Like an apple Bear Claw was spot on with this.
I think my vote that was the best note of the night, because that just pretty much nailed it to a T.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was. Here, I'll switch back over to a little bit of the first marriage, because I finished that and I got a cheers on something. But I appreciate both my Kansas City and my Carolina correspondent coming on this evening to the show. I thank you very much, Mike and Ben. I appreciate it a great deal. I love talking whiskeys with great people and who appreciate it and kind of delve that little bit deeper into it. Sometimes more than I do. It like really helps the nose and the flavor profile kind of hit in your mind more. So
thank you, Patrick and Mike. This was a lot of fun.
I am, and on your note, I am getting, now that this has opened up a bit, I left a little bit here. Mm-hmm. I am getting some more of that lemon. I don't want to call it lemon pledge, but almost a lemon pledge note on it.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah, and not quite the mahogany, but the lemon pledge on top of it. So, cheers, Arthur. Appreciate you stopping in. Jim, I'm glad we sold you on the Rua. You go pick that bottle up right away. I got one for my birth. What did I get from my sister? I got an old Bardstown bottle and bond from when she was in Kentucky, grabbing me the other stuff.
Nice.
But, I feel like I have to go snag a bottle of the Rua here pretty quick myself. So I've talked myself into it. And we'll keep going with the Driftless Glens because they're putting out some nice single barrel stuff that is better than a lot of other. I hate to say it, better than a lot of other things that I've tried in Wisconsin. But if you get a chance, like I know Mike is coming up here for Distill America. He got his tickets early. Right now, it's sold out of the VIP. So, in my mind, not as exciting that first hour where you get to wander around and really taste test whatever anyone has. Like that's kind of their like Four Roses. It was like, oh, here's our 130th anniversary edition here, and everyone had their special stuff. That's the hour I think is wonderful. And then I almost kind of take a little bit off, kind of because I've had a few drinks. I'm not drunk, I'll be honest. You get a little tipsy at that point, just a little buzz on, and just being honest, like everyone's like pour it out. I'm like bullshit. Like no, I'm not. I'm drinking this. This is stupendous. I'll pour something out if I dislike it later on.
Yeah.
But this is going in me. But definitely a thing to check out if you haven't, and if you can't this year, next year. I know it's winter in Wisconsin, but that is something definitely to come check out.
Yeah. Yeah, that was definitely a debater. It's like, let's see. I mean, I grew up in Iowa, but still, you're like, February in Wisconsin. There could be 7 feet of snow on the ground or 4 feet of snow on the ground.
Well, you got the hotel room there, so you did the right thing. It's like all I have to do is walk downstairs.
I just got to get there. That's it. I just got to get there.
So. But cheers, Ben. Oh, sorry, Ben. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, I was going to say we might be 30 degrees here or 80 degrees. Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll check that day, and then I'll feel if it's 80, I'm going to be really, really upset. Just because I like the warm weather. That's definitely the way I would go. And Ice House. Well, thanks for jumping in here. I didn't see you at the end. I was talking to the guys too much. What did you, if you get a chance, what did you think of Driftless Glen in the notes, either here or after we jump off? Because we've enjoyed it quite a bit. So
yeah.
But cheers, Mike, and cheers, Ben. I hope you guys have a good rest of the week, and we'll see you on the next live stream.
Yep.
Sounds good. Cheers.
Cheers.
That is good, but it's just a black licorice ending for me compared to the other one. Just that's the only thing that puts the other one above and beyond. So
yeah.
Good stuff.